Beskop Tsechu is Bhutan's first short fiction, documentary and animation film festival. It was started in 2011 by a group of filmmakers and artists to create a much-needed alternative platform for Bhutanese filmmakers and audiences. With 26 entries submitted, 9 were chosen for fiction, 5 for documentary and 4 for animation, spotlighting a range of narratives from Bhutanese cinema. In collaboration with Beskop Tsechu, BBS presents interviews with select filmmakers to delve deeper into their films and the narratives they portray. The filmmaker joining me right now is no stranger. Tsewang, also known as Tsewang Psy, is a dynamic content creator blending humor and insight with a background steeped in film studies. Renowned for his groundbreaking series, Gyödöbei, Bhutan's first sketch comedy, and his role as creative producer for Saya Dakpo, the Bhutanese millionaire, he's a pioneer in the realm of innovative entertainment. As the charismatic host of SciPod and producer of Tasi Masters, Cooking with the Stars, Psy showcases his versatility and dedication to celebrating Bhutanese identity through diverse mediums. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you.
That was a long introduction.
That was a very long introduction.
First of all, congratulations
Thank you,
for having made it into the festival. Well,
Yes,
how do you
thank
feel about it?
Very excited. Of course, I love filmmaking, so when this kind of platforms to showcase and also to meet other fellow filmmakers comes along, it's very it's very nice for, especially for the small fraternity we have in Bhutan.
True.
Yes.
How did you start making films? Let's begin with what piqued your interest into it.
If I give the long answer, it actually starts from childhood. I was really into film. I was the type of person, like after I watch a movie, I'll go look it up, try to figure out how it was made, who was the director, how much was the budget, when was it shot, how was it shot, what was the reason. So I loved being a film geek, film nerd ever since high school, throughout my school days. So after high school, I decided that this is something that I really enjoy, and I feel like some people usually they don't know what to decide to do college, but I instantly knew like I may not make a lot of money with this career path, but I don't think I'll be disappointed in the along the way. And so far, it's been a journey, but I'm very happy that I chose this decision.
So forgive my ignorance here, but have you had formal education in terms of filmmaking?
Yes. So for my degree, bachelor's degree, I did my degree in digital filmmaking and television. So it was a 3-year degree in Malaysia, and I did it was a comprehensive kind of studies in all facets of filmmaking, that being directing, a little bit of acting, editing, sound design. So basically the whole summary of what encompasses what a filmmaker does.
I like to ask people who've studied filmmaking, I like to ask what, according to you, consists of, what makes a filmmaker a good filmmaker? Is it the education that he had in filmmaking, or does it have to do with the innate quality of being creative?
I think it's the innate quality of being a filmmaker. I think when you learn these kind of technical skills, it's mostly, like I mentioned, technical things which will make you like how you want to frame a certain a shot, or how you want to make the person deliver it in a certain right way. But these are all like things which will complement the overall creativity which comes initially. So I feel like if you have a very bad idea, it doesn't really matter how much technical training you have if the storytelling is lacking. So the utmost importance is, I think, the storytelling. And I think it comes innately. And then even if you train a lot, it can be fabricated, maybe replicated, but it might not be as genuine if it's not from within.
I see. Let's talk about your film, the Time Travelling Gho.
Yes.
How did you think of the story?
So actually, I wanted to participate in the early edition of Beskop Tsechu. I think it was in 2022. I think 2 years ago. So I had the idea to make the film for this competition itself 2 years ago, but because of scheduling conflicts, we couldn't finish the project. We finished half of the shooting. Then we realized that we couldn't give 100%. So when the festival came again this time around, I just had to make a point that we have to complete what we started. So the idea of the film came from like my upbringing. I like science fiction. So it's a very subgenre. I think not many people in Bhutan watch it, maybe at least to my knowledge. And I also love comedy. So I wanted to blend the two, but also have a little bit of a Bhutanese element to it. So the story is a sort of a romantic comedy, but it is in a science fiction kind of genre because it has the element of time travel. But I wanted to Bhutanize it, so I needed something called a MacGuffin. They say it in the film in the film terminology, which is basically a plot device which will carry the story. So I thought the Gho would be a good element for at least people who are not very familiar with the genre to at least familiarize. Oh, there's the Gho. At least we can see what happens with that. So with these three elements, I wanted to merge it together and tell a simple story which I enjoy, and I hope that if people watch it, they can get something out of it.
So you said you started shooting this film a few years ago,
Yes.
but then you couldn't make it for the previous festival. So whatever we watched in the film, were there scenes that were shot from the both years?
No. So like I mentioned, we couldn't finish shooting. So this time around, I did a little bit adjustments with the script. So there was a portion of where the character was in high school, or sorry, in college, but I changed it to being an office worker. And then one scene which was supposed to be in a grocery store, I made it into a restaurant. So a few little changes and edits with the script. So we shot it again from scratch this time.
Oh wow! Okay.
But with much more lessons learned from the past experiences.
I see. Could you take us through your creative process, the journey of after you conceived the idea to you till you were ready to show it to the people?
Okay, so usually I'll try to come up with the concept first. So if I feel like the concept is pretty solid, then I'll do something called treatment. So I'll write the plot kind of synopsis. Then I'll try to break down the characters. So I'll try to find out what my characters are, like how they look, what kind of characteristics they have, personalities. Then once all that is done, then I'll try to move on with the script and try to use that treatment as a reference so I don't break the elements of the characters or continuity. Then after the scripting phase, then usually this is something which not many Bhutanese people do, but I like to storyboard. So I try to break down every scene to see, at least visually, I can see how it look like, at least in theory. Then after that, I'll make a list of shots, then maybe a list of locations, list of props. Then once all the pre-production is done, then it's just the shooting and editing.
I see. Which aspect of filmmaking, is it the pre-production or the production or post-production, does it take more time for you?
I think it's pre-production.
Pre-production, okay.
I think planning is key.
I
And
see.
if you plan well, then production relatively is less hectic. I won't say not hectic at all, it's always hectic. But if you do a solid pre-production, I think production is a lot smoother. And also post also, you don't compromise as much.
And how long did the whole project take?
If you just production or the entire process?
The whole process.
The whole process might have taken a few months, but the production was just 1 week.
I see, okay.
And editing was 2 weeks. So just shooting and editing was about 3 weeks.
You've worked on previous productions too.
Yes.
Some of them were commercial, some of them for the OTT platform,
Yes.
and live television too.
Yes.
How different was this? Because this is your project.
Yes. So I would say when you're doing productions for companies, you have to cater to their needs as they are the producer. So this time I had complete creative control because this was a passion project. It was my own, out of my own conception. So there was no limitations of what we could do, what we couldn't do because of our creatively speaking, maybe some budget constraints, but in terms of like the story, there was no one to say, hey, you cannot say this or you cannot do that, because there was no one else holding us back. So I felt like this was more personal because it came literally from my head. So
I see.
I think that was the difference.
Let's talk about challenges while while producing this work. What kind of challenges and how did you overcome?
Challenges, I would say budget constraint, of course. I won't say it was completely zero budget, but we only had budget for food and transportation. So I had to convince a lot of my friends to do this for free, which I think is not very good, at least in terms of our industry, because our industry is known for being underpaid and exploited. But this was a passion project. I just said, everyone, I'm not getting paid as well. Let's just do something to showcase what we can do, and then from there we'll see what happens. So obviously first was budget constraint, and then also time as well, because all of my friends had other commitments, so we made time to make this project, and we only had about 10 days to shoot it because we all had other things to do, so we had to lock down all the shots within the 10 days. So it was kind of a, I wouldn't say a sprint, but a short marathon.
I see. Wow, but you overcame it, which is great. You have explored, I mean, you have always had a hint of comedy in most of your productions.
Yes, yes.
And you have admitted that you like to have comedy and a sense of humor in your production.
Yes.
Going henceforth, what kind of themes would you like to explore?
I am not what would I say? I'm not a very normal person, I would say. I like very dark themes, and I like genres which are not explored. So one being science fiction. I think in Bhutan we have had maybe 1 or 2 films about time travel. I'm not if I'm not sure, but I like time travel. I love science fiction. So maybe I would delve into something with science fiction again. Maybe something else. Maybe do it like aliens or some zombies or something like that. So
but you do manage to weave in a Bhutanese kick to it.
Yes, I love to add something which is like personal, for at least for our Bhutanese audience.
True.
Because when I was growing up watching like the movies I like to watch, whether it be fantasy, horror, or science fiction, like if I saw something like remotely close to being Asian, I would get excited because I would feel like it's it's representation, you would say. I don't know. So like at least now, if I have the opportunity to make something of which I like, whether it be comedy or science fiction, I would like to have certain elements which you know that is distinctively Bhutanese. So if someone else watches it, then they'll be like, oh, I've never seen this and this together. So it's like I like to merge kind of like fusion food kind of filmmaking. So I like to add a little bit of fried rice and noodles, put it together, and then see if it's palatable for the audience.
I think your films do appeal to a section of the population in the country. However, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like your film targets a particular group of people, and they have to have a sense of humor, they have to be educated, they have to be able to laugh at themselves and others at the same time. But to be able to commercially appeal to the larger crowd, do you think you as a filmmaker will ever have to make some sacrifices to be able to grasp the attention of a larger population?
Yes, I think that will always come with the territory. Like right now I've worked in the industry for a few number of years, so at least now I know how, in terms of productions, like certain things you have to cater to the audience because they are the ones who are coming to watch your projects. But I think it depends on what your goal of your projects are, like whether it be an artistic purpose or commercial purpose, or whether it just is for yourself. So if you want to make it more commercially, I think yes, you have to take little steps back or maybe compromise on certain things in order to appeal for the mass audience. But if you want to make something artistic or for yourself, I think it should be just genuinely you. It should be, audience should come second. It should be a true representation of what you like. And then if people like it, then it's nothing like it. But if you try to make something commercially more popular, then I think you have to, go for the mass appeal, whether it be adding a love song sequence or a fight in Dochila Point or something like that. If it works for the audience, then some things maybe are necessary, at least for now.
So there's no arguing that you are multi-talented. You have engrossed yourself in multiple aspects of filmmaking. Which one would you, if you had to choose one, which one would your favorite be?
In terms of what?
Filmmaking.
Filmmaking genre,
like
is it?
scripting,
Oh, scripting.
the procedure of it.
I like the entire process actually. I'm a person actually, like if this project I was the writer, director, producer, there's a small scene where I act a bit also, editing as well, sound design. So I like all aspects of it, like it. But then if I had to just focus on one, I would prefer directing because that is something which I feel like I can relate most with. But I do not mind any other role, whether it be assistant directing or writing or editing. So, but I would say directing would be my favorite among them all.
We've touched up a little on this earlier, but I want to ask you about your inspiration.
Oh, my inspiration, yeah. So obviously watching sci-fi movies and also Marvel movies as well growing up, and I love dark themes and humorous kind of movies. So that's why dark humor really works with me. So especially dark humor comes from a lot of British content. So British people are known for their dry humor. So I like to incorporate all these kind of things which I've learned throughout my I would say educative journey, is that in filmmaking.
Yeah.
But I would say that if what was the question? Inspiration, sorry.
Yeah.
So I would say the biggest inspiration was obviously, I think, it was sci-fi movies. So like Ridley Scott, whether it be Stanley Kubrick, Nolan as well, Christopher Nolan. So I think yes, science fiction is my most favorite genre and also my biggest inspiration.
As someone who is really interested in films and what goes behind it, what do you think should we as a country and as Bhutanese filmmakers, what could we change or how could we improve? I mean, if you could, not that, I don't want to put you in this place where you're giving wisdom and advice to others, but just as someone who feels passionately for filmmaking, how do you think we could improve our filmmaking?
I think at the root level, we shouldn't compromise. I think not just filmmaking, but in general, I think Bhutanese, we have the tendency to compromise a lot, like saying that kemi, it's okay, kemi. I think that kind of thing, small details adds up in the overarching goal. So like, for instance, in terms of like a very textbook method of making filmmaking, I think like making a short list, or making a prop list, making a storyboard, doesn't seem very far-fetched, but in Bhutan, in Bhutanese industry, it's rarely seen. So things like storyboarding or things like field sound recording, like we have this kind of stereotypical joke that, oh, it's okay, we'll fix it in post-production. We'll fix it in post-production. So like sound, whether it be a continuity mistake, we love to compromise a lot, I think. And I think if we compromise less and we say, no, we have to do it this certain way, we have to record the sound on the field, we have to prepare in the script, we cannot, 1-2 takes is not going to matter, we'll do 30 takes until we get the shot we want. I think these are the core root level steps. I think if you can improve, then everything else will come into place.
Wow, I think that's a great advice. One last thing. If you meet someone, a young aspiring filmmaker, what advice would you have for him or her?
Watch a lot of movies. If you enjoy it and you want to learn, then learn it on your own. Don't wait for somebody to teach you. Go online. There's YouTube these days. I was fortunate in my generation, YouTube started coming up, so I also got taught by YouTube tutorials. So I would say if you're really passionate and you really want to do it, it's a beautiful journey. It's a hard journey. You won't make any money out of it, but it's rewarding in other aspects. And if you really genuinely love filmmaking, I think it's a path worth following, but don't expect any riches to come along your way.
Thank you very much. That was a very honest advice. I appreciate it. Thank you, Psy, for taking this time out to chat with us. And congratulations once again for having made. All right.